here's the new part. You're entering this paradigm called object-oriented programming. And after conferring with someone more attuned to recent JavaScript stuff and the best teacher ever, Mr. Simon, I'm now ready to tell you about these things. So yesterday we did a ball that bounces up and down. We just used variables. And now you're going to associate those variables with something called a ball object. Okay. For as a transition, think about objects as fancy variables. You now have variables that belong to objects. You also have functions or like special abilities. Like if I do a Pokemon example, like a Bulbasaur has the tackle move, right? That's what it does. Bulbasaurs tackle things. Charmanders scratch, and then Squirtles use bubble. Those are actions they can take. But static things like HP, like attack and speed and defense and all that, that just belongs to the Pokemon. And generally, Pokemon have those variables that are associated with them. Does that vaguely make sense? Yes? No? Don't know if you all. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify the starter code I gave you yesterday to like really produce the same kind of bubble or bubble ball, some kind of B object, and then we'll show you some of the benefits of making a like why do we learn this in the first place? Other than like later you're going to see this in computer science A with Mr. Simon. So yesterday. And then we turn your attention to the board, right? So up here, I wrote down a couple things. A ball has a x position, a y position, and in our example, it has a speed in the y position. We're gonna call that y speed. And then maybe to add in a couple things, their size. And I think in my current code, I don't have a x position because it's the same, and I don't have a size. Maybe we'll add that in so that we can change them. These things has a relationship. So a ball has a blank. And if you fill in the blank, all these things have a special name. They're called member variables. So for example, the size right now is like 30. At the start, its y speed starts at -1. Its y position right now starts at 190. And then maybe we'll add the x position to be 100. These are the variables you're used to. And now they belong to something. They belong to a ball object. Yes? And earlier I asked, okay, what does a ball do? These are specific behaviors or methods, functions that belong to an object, right? They're more than just variables. They entail more complicated behaviors. And for a ball, that looks like showing yourself, moving up and down the screen, bouncing, which is when you get to an edge, you got to change your direction. Okay? These are called member functions, some new keywords for you. Yes? And we're going to tie this all together with a couple new keywords in JavaScript, and then create a whole bunch of different bouncing balls of different sizes and colors. I can see why I chose bubble now at the start. Okay, sounds better than ball. All right, so some new stuff that you'll need to know is we'll need a new function. Let me zoom this in a bit more. Make the text bigger. Where's my size? Pen details. I did have my text being huge, but now it's not huge. Darn it. Okay, so I hope you can see this okay. Let me turn off the lights. Kinda, not really. Settings. No. Behavior. Darn it. Ah, yes, this part. No, not that one. That's no better. Ah, there it goes. Okay, so where's everything? All right, there's my output. Now you can see some of the code I type, it's huge. So the first part, we're making a ball class, right? That's what we need. Okay. So this part is like declaring that a ball object exists. That's a comment. And then inside, we're going to translate what I wrote on the board. A ball has a x position, y position, y speed, and a size. We're going to make those member variables. We're going to associate them with the ball object. And here's the new keyword you need to learn. This, and a period. This dot, let's say, x position equals 100. This dot y position equals 190. Okay? So this specifically refers to a ball. So a ball has a x position, a ball has a y position. That's how we translate those English sentences into code. Now, x position, y position belongs to a ball object. So within a ball object, it has the following member variables, which are declared and initialized below. So declare and initialize you're familiar with. The new part is really this member part. Who are you? Where do you belong? You belong to a ball. This specific x position, this specific y position, and you hear this keyword being used. We'll add in a couple more. This dot y underscore speed equals -1. This dot size equals 30. I think I translated what I have so far. And notice this code is very similar to the code we had earlier. It was exactly the variables we had at the very top. Y speed, y position, we added in x position, we added in x speed. So now we're just moving like these lines down into this new part, function ball, into a ball object. We're defining what it means to be. Oh, I leave that to you because my example just bounces up and down. You're right. If you're making it bounce like diagonally in the goal of the assignment, you will need an x speed too. Okay. So we just finished talking about the member variables, and here comes the more interesting parts. What does it mean? What does a ball do? So down here, and then now we'll define what balls do. First, our balls can move. Balls can show themselves. Oh gosh. See why I chose bubble. And then balls can bounce. And let's fill in what this means. So this keyword, now it's a little different than before. This dot move equals function. My JavaScript's funky. Okay, and this is the little weird part. Okay. There's no parentheses here. There we go. Okay, there we go. So this dot move on the left-hand side looks like a variable, but what's different is on the right-hand side. Move is a function. And if we scroll down, specifically, we already have the code that controls its movement. It looks like this right here. Y position equals y position plus y speed. So we can move that, put it up here. And notice, we no longer, like this is the one variable that was declared at the very top. But now we're associating that, we're sticking that into a ball object. So you need to add in the this keyword in front of these variables you previously had defined. Okay? That's what it means to move. for a specific ball, you need to add your y speed to your y position. Similarly, this dot show is another function. And if you show yourself, that was this ellipse line, drawing it to the screen. Right here. So then we move that into the show function. Our 100 was this dot x underscore position. Our y position was this dot y position. And it looks like we had a size now, this dot size, and this dot size. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit so you can see more of the code. So the new part is this and the period. Adding a name to it and now defining what that means. Notice that member variables, they are in fact functions. These behaviors are much more complicated than variables. Okay. We did the first two, move and show. Questions? You following along okay? Johnny?
Is it for the ellipse thing? Is it this stuff?
Yes. You found it. Thank you. Yes. It's singular. I like to add s's at the end of everything. I think I was related to a snake in a previous life. Okay, and then bouncing. This is perhaps the more complicated parts. Down here, reading from my comments, it's these if statements that controls our bounce. So, just like before, our function's called bounce equals a function defined as and then we go down, we copy and paste this stuff that we had before. Copy, paste. Okay. And now we have to do some updating. We no longer have a general y position and y speed. They belong to certain objects. Specifically, it's a ball object. It belongs to this specific y position and y speed. Notice this code is exactly, or is very similar to the code from yesterday with the new addition of this dot. So far so good? Now just to show something different, because like right now it's going to have two balls that are overlapping each other when I use it. This new ball object, I'm going to move slightly to the right, okay, and I'm going to make it a lot smaller. So I'm going to scroll back up and change its size to 1010 and also increase its X position to another like 50 pixels. Just to see that it's different than the ball I had before. A new smaller ball that is over to the right and a lot smaller is going to appear on the screen very soon. Okay, so all that work, we've just declared and initialized what it means to be a ball. We have not used it yet. So if I save and run this code, we just see the stuff from before. Okay, we just see the initial ball we started with yesterday. In order to make this new ball appear, we have to declare it, initialize it, and use the definition that we just did. So, of course, our variable, our ball is going to be called Bob. This is the name of my first ball object, Bob. Okay, and just like before, var Bob goes to the very top, and the second new keyword I teach you, we have to use the word new. In order to create new objects, you have to use the new keyword. New does some memory allocation. It does something fancy, because you can imagine if you have really complicated objects, it takes up a variable amount of space in memory. So JavaScript does something funky in the back end. So we've declared it. Now we need to initialize it. Bob equals new ball. Versus before, we just did y speed equals -1, y position equals 190. This right-hand side, new and ball, is the different part. New keyword turns purple, then you see the ball object. This refers to this big definition we just did. Right? And notice if we click run, although we've declared it, we have not told Bob to show himself. So there's nothing new on the screen. We don't see a ball to the right of our original one that's smaller. So in the draw function, we have to tell, hey Bob, please show yourself. Yes? That's what it means. In English, it's like, hi Bob, please show yourself. Bob.show. This is how we use the objects. We're telling Bob, do your thing. Save and run. Ta-dang. Ah, there is Bob. But Bob's not moving. He's not dead. He just needs to be commanded to perform his actions. Hey Bob, please move yourself. And there's an order to this. Okay, now Bob moves. Ta-da! Oh no! Bob, where did you go? Come back. Bob. I'm missing something else, right? So what's the last behavior we must add in? Yes, Bob. This is what it means to bounce. Now do your thing. Do. Do. Hurrah! Thus, we've created a new object. Yes? So far, so good? So to summarize, this new paradigm of programming, you've been introduced to this is one way to declare new objects in JavaScript. We're working with a simpler case, a ball. Your goal is still to make it bounce diagonally like this, with the path of my mouse, like so. And I want you to use this kind of structuring of your code. Use this dot, make a ball object, and then give it a name, and then make it bounce. I'll show you the benefits of this a little later, but I think that's already a good stopping point. See if you can translate your already written code into this object-oriented format. Yeah, you're good. Okay, this will be posted, and I will also post this code for you to follow along with on Google Classroom. You've got about 10 more minutes to work on what you need to work on. I have other announcements. If you want some extra credit, you can do week 14 reflection. That was your homework that I mistakenly